So I'm trying to think of a good story of the county jail. That's how I got around, and that's how initially I was placed with the Blacks and Crips. I had to do it every fucking time before I went into a dorm, before I went into a cell block. I'm like, hey, I'm a Crip. You need to put me with the Crips. The sheriffs, because this isn't COs in there. These are LA County sheriffs. Mm-hmm. The sheriffs, for the most part, acknowledge that. I'm like, okay. And then they make it happen. So that worked for a while. Eventually, it's not going to work, and then I have to change. I change it all, and eventually, I'm like, hey, I'm black. Put black on my paperwork right now, so that you do not mix me up. But before then, though, I still had. I'm going through the LA County jail experience. You go in there, it is gang member central. People are going to test you. You're not going out of there like untested. This all we have is time in there, right? And people want to exert dominance. People want to exert. Some people want to prove something. Some people are really pissed off. Some people, this is how they were bred. Some people have been doing this since juvie, since they were 12 years old. I go in like I'm wet behind the ears, right? And I look that way too. But I'm very, like I said, I'm still built for it in a way, just because the way I was beat. It's kind of like when you have a dog and what do they do for fighter dogs, right? They beat the shit out of them. Mm. And then they have them go fight. So in a way, like, my mom did me a favor because I needed something to survive in there. So I'm learning how the county jail system works. I'm pretty out there, like, I stand out. People are gonna know who I am. People are gonna ask about me, etc. I remember I'm in a movement. I'm in a holding cell to go to EastMax. And a dude comes to like the door, and there's like a square. There's no glass on it. It's just a square that's open. Black dude comes to the door. He's like, hey, are there any Crips in here? I raise my hand. Right? Who's going to raise their hand to that? I get up. He's like, yeah, let me holler at you. I get up. I go to him. He's like, hey, you see dude right there? I look at him. It's like kind of big dude. Bigger than me, definitely. He has a full bag of canteen. He's like, hey, cuz is a weirdo, go take his shit.
Oh, shit.
So I'm like, shit, say less. I go to the dude, I look at him, I'm like, hey, you gotta give me all your shit right now. He gave it to me, no friction. So I get his shit, I split half with, and he was a weirdo, right? I give half to, who became a really good friend of mine, half dad from East Coast Crip. I gave him half. I took the other half. That kind of pumped me up a little bit, right? And I'm learning the politics too, how they work. I'm learning by action in real time. Like, what can you do, what can't you do? Who can you do it to, who can't you do it to? And mind you, I don't look the part. So I end up going to another dorm, and this is where I learned, and I had to learn fast, and I'm happy I learned this lesson early on, and it was a painful one. I go to this other dorm, and I walk in. There's a guy in there. Everyone's saying he's snitching. And for me, like, I think if the rules are if you're snitching, then you're not supposed to be in here, right? So I actually think, as being young, I think people really do follow these rules, or there is a high level of honor in certain things. And I'm gonna find out how it really moves. So I tell the dude who's quote unquote, it's none of my business, right? It's none of my business, but I don't know. I'm not wise enough yet to just do my shit. So I go in there, I'm like, hey, cuz it's snitching, something's gotta happen. And I'm 18 and a half, 170 pounds soaking wet. So I think people look at me and I'm like, like, shut the fuck up almost. They don't say that, right? They definitely don't say that, but has to be the thought. But at this point, I've already riled myself up, and I'm look at the dude, and I'm like, hey, look, you're snitching. I get it. Just give me half your shit. That's what I tell him. So it becomes a whole thing. So he's like, I'm not giving you half my shit. I'm like, okay, well, we can get down then. Long story short, me and him go to the back, knock him out. People tell him, look at him, they're like, hey, you got knocked the fuck out. After that, immediately after that, I got a dude from Long Beach is like, hey, which is the same car. It's like, hey, let me talk to you. And I'm riled up. Like you get after, like there's a bit of chaos in the dorm. There's that adrenaline that's going on inside of me. There's commotion, right? He's like, hey, come to the back. And in the back of EastMax, the dorms, there's like a concrete step almost. That's like that big. So when you sit down on it, you're kind of compromised. Let's go to the back. I don't know that, right? I don't know that. He's like, hey, just he's looking at me. He's like, just chill. Let everything kind of calm down. So I go to the back and I take a seat. As soon as I sit down, I see a dude who is the quote-unquote shot caller in the dorm from 5 Deuce Brims. He comes out of nowhere, just boom. And he hit really hard. This guy's an OG. He's probably in his 40s. Huge. Just blindsides me, right? I'm immediately I'm already kind of on the floor. After that, I'm completely on the floor. He straddles me, gets on top of me, and he just starts pounding my face in. And as he's punching me, he would stop. And at this point, my arms are jello, and they wouldn't have done nothing to him anyways. I'm not hitting that. I'm hitting hard in my weight class, not in that weight class. And, his punches, it's not just the punch, it's the ricochet of my head on the concrete after it. My head is up, the thud, and then the second thud, going back and then bouncing back. And he'd pause between those heavy punches, and he'd say, hey, I need you to roll your shit up. Now, at that time, I don't even know what that means. But instinctually, I know what he's trying to do. Emotionally, I know what he's trying to do. So I'm like, no. First thud, boom, second thud on the concrete. And they tell me again, hey, you're gonna roll your shit up. And I'm a kid, right? Look at him, I'm like, no. Boom. Ricochet, thud. He asked me one more time. I told him, fuck you, Like at this time, I'm seeing stars. Like I'm seeing like it's my face is like a balloon. Finally, somebody else comes and says, "Hey, that's enough." So the shot caller gets off of me, and then he beats that dude up. And this dude was bigger than him, right?
Oh, shit.
So as soon as he got off of me, though, I get up and I go straight to the showers. There's blood coming down my face. And I'm in the shower. This is the second time I cried. And this isn't the, the cry that I had with my sister. This isn't that type of cry. This is like a realization of kind of how things really work. And, I'm in the shower, the water's coming over my face, but there's tears coming down too. Because as a naive kid, I'm like, hey, there's a bunch of Crips in here. This dude's a blood. And not only that, some of these guys, this is your natural enemy on the streets too, mind you. If you wanted an excuse to get cracking, you could have. So now I'm understanding, okay, it works differently. It's not about these ideals and about colors and about blue, red. It is about relationships at the end of the day, right? I don't have those relationships in there. So I have that realization, like I said, I'm happy I learned that early on, because later on it could have cost me more. But in that same token, that event, I made me wiser and taught me how to kind of, okay, what I can do and what I can't do, but also people respected that. Like that I think on a foundational level of my reputation in the county jail, that was an initial really big piece. Because when people see you do that, it calls something good in them out too. Like, damn, you know what? Like, he ain't going anywhere. He could have, because after that issue, then, the Crips did rally around me. We're like, no, he's not going anywhere at this point. And so another lesson within that event is that in order for people to fight for you, you got to fight for yourself. In order for people to stand up with you, you got to stand up for yourself. People aren't just gonna, and these are strangers, right? Like, these aren't my homies from my neighborhood. So let me make sure I say that. Like, these aren't the homies that I grew up with. Like, that's a whole different love, you know what I mean? Or understanding. These are people that we're just kind of loosely associated with each other because of a color. But after you stand up for yourself, like, people will, like, stand up with you. Those are, to me, the real ones. But you have to prove that, hey, you're willing to fight for it. It's your issue. You have to do more for it. No one else is going to do it for you. No one else is going to stand up for you. At least in my case, right? At least in my case. So, that was a big moment for me. After that, we have huge racial riots. And to describe how that feels in the LA County Jail during this time period with the peak overcrowdedness, high level of violence, like, you feel the hate in there. I always felt it. Whenever I walked in the dorm, I always felt the other race, my own race, look at me and be like, oh, fuck him. Anything goes down, we're going after him first. Like I said, these things made me have to think beyond race, and figure out what am I about. So I was in a ton of physical bullshit in LA County prison, all that. But there's bigger ones that I think your audience may find more interesting. So I'll talk about the racial riots. The reason that the racial riots went down in the LA County jail, I can't even tell you. I don't know. For me, it was status quo, though, because it was kind of like that on the streets. Like, there was that tension. There was that racial violence, hate, all that's weaved into the gangbanging. Like, and in there in the county jail, like, you feel that. You know, you see the dudes with hate tatted all over them. And they're ready to let that out. Why the racial riots happened, I can't tell you. I don't know the history on that one, even though I was in it. But I can tell you how it happened for where I was at. So I was at EastMax, maximum security dormitories. That's like on another compound of the LA County Jail. That's like towards the valley a little bit. And this is a huge, I wouldn't say even huge, this is a big dorm. There's probably like, I don't know, 100 and something inmates in there. The bunks are triple stacked. I remember the precursor to the riot, like how it feels. There's like a quietness, you know, there's a stillness. People are talking a little bit lighter, like people are whispering about what's gonna happen. Like there's an energy shift. And I was aware of that. I'm like, oh, what the fuck is going on, right? And we're all kind of just chilling. It's a little bit more quiet. We know that riots are now going on around the entire county jail. So the sheriffs are trying to mitigate that because they're trying to make it not happen here. So they do that by making movements, stuff like that. So they move us all to another dorm. Blacks, Mexicans, whites, everyone, the dorm just gets moved to another dorm. And while we're there, like it's a done deal. Like this is gonna happen. And on the triple stack bunk, I'm on the middle bunk. I'm just chilling, right? But I have a good sense of feeling still with things like that, as a lot of traumatized kids do. Like you're hypersensitive to things of that nature. And it just happened. I see like 3 Southsiders just coming right at me. It's like a karate movie, right? Or I just roll over, right? And just hit and move. Like it's going down.
Yeah.
It's chaos. But when you're in it, you just hit and move, right? And then you're in the hands of fate in a real way. You just hit, move, hit, move, hit, move. And that's what I did. Hitting, moving, hitting, moving, hitting, moving. And eventually, right, as the riot progresses, and this is happening in seconds, in minutes, and not more than that, right? But time slows down. Hitting and moving, hitting, moving. And you start hearing the boom, the percussion bombs, the pepper spray. And as I'm looking, okay, I see, okay, where are all the blacks at, right? That's where I'm going. Hit, move. So all the blacks, me included, we go to the front of the dorm. And cops are shooting the percussion bombs. They look like grenades, right? All of us are at the front of the dorm. All of the Southsiders and whoever's, on that side, they're on the back of the dorm. They got the bed mats up, trying to protect themselves from the percussion bombs and all that. And we're all laying prone, and I'm looking around. There's smoke everywhere. Some guys are crying. The cops tell us, hey, you guys, tell the blacks, hey, you guys make it to go in the restrooms. We go in the restrooms. They continue to mace and throw percussion bombs. People were throwing up blood. People were begging to be let out. Like, it's a riot. We're in the restroom now at this point. The way they stopped that, right? All of us are in the restroom. The restroom's huge. So we're all in there. This takes a while too. They then get all the Hispanics out. And we're in the restroom for like what feels like a whole fucking day. But I couldn't tell you how long it was. So we go back so as soon as they let all the Hispanics out, and then they got out whoever was hurt, right? Whoever was really hurt, they got them out. We go back in the dorm. We're in the dorm, now it's just blacks and others. And we're in the dorm, and they tell us that, LA County Jail does not segregate. So we're gonna bring everyone else who was in this dorm, we're gonna bring them back in here. So
Right
we're in
back
there,
to the
right?
shit.
We're in there. And I think we're all, at this point, we're all in fucking our boxers at this point, right? And we're like, what the fuck? The same group? At least bring a different group, right?
Yeah. God, man.
And, I'll never forget that moment. People respond to moments like that differently, and I think it has to do with your upbringing. And there's another dude in there. I'm not great with names, but the dudes I remember, I definitely remember. His name was Leprechaun. He was from A. Trey Hoover. And, leaders rise in these moments too, right? You can see who's a leader and who's trying to make it happen. So Lep was like, hey, if they let him back in then, fuck it. So I'm like, shit, fuck it, right? This is, in my mind, I'm like, hey, I'm used to this from where I grew up. In my quick upbringing in the hood, that's a 2-year snapshot that I got,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I'm used to this. Bring him back in. Yeah, I may look this way, but I have a big heart. I have a lot of heart. I'm like, yeah, bring him back in. So Lep is on a big, he's on like the top bunk towards the back. I'm maybe like 2 bunks to his right. And before the sheriffs are going to let all the Hispanics in, we then decide, okay, because they're going to let him in groups, right? Do we wait till they let him all in? Or do we kind of just let a small group in and just mangle the small group? So the consensus was, let them all back in. That was the consensus. So fuck it, let them all back in. That's what they do. Like a day later, they start filing all of them back in. And this is no disrespect to the Southsiders. This is just facts of what happened in there. This is just facts of gang life. These are facts of jail life and prison life. We just happen to be on opposite ends. So they let all of them in. The shot caller for the Southsiders is, hey, it was just business. We had to do what we had to do. I hear Lep go, nah, fuck that. Then we all went, nah, fuck that. We all got up. The second riot ensued.